welcome to another episode of Shezzy's Digestive Harmony. Today I'm joined by the incredible Toni Stevens. She's a spiritual healer and coach whose work, she dives deep into the emotional roots of healing. Toni brings a powerful, unique fusion of energetics, hypnotherapy, meditation, and EMPR, which is emotional memory pattern release method, NLP, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming, and holistic coaching to help women and men heal childhood trauma, release family and cultural conditioning, and navigate, life's challenges with greater ease, and basically support people in transforming mental and emotional struggles, breaking free from overwhelm and reconnecting with their true selves. So in this episode, guys, we'll be exploring how stress impacts the gut, why unresolved emotional patterns matter, and what holistic tools can bring to the body and mind and spirit. Let's dive in. Welcome, Toni. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Cherie.
Yes, yes, I'm happy too, sweet. So I just wanted to find out, why you became like the healer coach you are today for holistic coaching and stuff.
It's a bit of a calling. When I was, just when I was a teenager, I got introduced by one of my teachers to meditation, and absolutely loved it. And then I just became fascinated and curious by the spiritual journey and, our mind and where it could take us and how powerful it was. And my dad was a real Star Trek fan as well, so that really helped.
How do you do
Like
that thing? Like this? Isn't it like this or something?
yeah, the Vulcans. And the Vulcans in Star Trek, they do this thing called a mind meld,
Ah,
where
okay.
my mind to your mind.
Like
it
we're
makes
doing
it.
now.
And I was like, oh my God, how to do that?
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. Wanted to ask about, your own experiences with stress and emotional health or gut issues, if it's applicable to you. Yeah, just
Yeah.
touch on that.
Yeah. So when I was young, so when I was 23, I was diagnosed with anxiety. And I didn't even know, I'd never even heard of it before, right? Because 25 years ago, mental health was so taboo that it just wasn't spoken about, and it was really shameful, which has really changed in our society today, which is amazing
Yeah.
because mental health, anxiety, depression are just so rife at the moment. And so it's a really big issue. And so what I am doing with it's telling my story and just saying that it's normal, like it's a normal part of our lives that we experience
Yeah.
highs and lows and mental health challenges,
Yes.
and challenges with our body. So for me, I just had a lot of physical symptoms show up. So there are both physical symptoms when you have anxiety and mental symptoms, right? So just to give you a quick idea of how stress operates in the body, and how anxiety comes about is it's our fear response gets triggered. And when that happens, all sorts of hormones and endorphins are, flooded into our body, like adrenaline and cortisol, and it sends all the blood and energy to our heart, right? So that we can go into that really primal fear state of fight or flight, so that we can run or we can fight our way out of a threatening situation. The problem with today's modern stress levels is that instead of us actually taking that energy that has been given to us, the adrenaline and the cortisol, and actually using it and releasing it, like flushing it from the body, we're not doing that, and we're just holding on to it and we're sitting in it. And so it's causing a lot of problems. And so what happened to me was I was working in a day job, like an office job, and I'd never done that before. So I was sitting all day. And then I was also in a stressful relationship as well. So there was like a few things happening that was stressful.
Yes. Yes.
Um, And so in our modern day, when we are faced with like stress and this fear response, there are a few more responses that happen now as well. So we've got fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, right? So I like to say, oh, okay, um, there's the freeze response, which is like, you know, in primal days it would be playing dead, right? In the modern in
Like
the modern day, yeah, modern day, it's like we go into total freeze and shut down,
yes,
and we can like procrastinate. We can just stay still and like not make any decisions at all and not do anything. And it's kind of like that depression state.
yeah,
Um, where we just think nothing is going to help. And and then there's fawning, of course, which is people pleasing when we're in fear state. So then we feel like safe, we feel accepted, we feel loved. Anyway, I've gone totally off topic, sorry.
no, no, it's okay
I'm
because
coming
you're
back.
explaining what it is. You're explaining the different types of what would you call it?
Fear response.
Yeah, all the different responses to you trying to survive, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, keep going. It's all right, sweet. Because
okay,
the
I'll
viewers
keep
need
going.
to be educated in this kind of thing. And we'll get to the physical stuff in a minute, the links, the link.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll keep explaining the fight and the flight. So fight is obviously like fighting your way out of a threatening situation,
Yes.
but in our modern day life, fighting is like being defensive, arguing with people, justifying ourselves. Like we just automatically go into that fear response and we feel like we need to like defend ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, which, a lot of us find all the time that we're going into that defense mode
Yeah.
because we feel unsafe or we feel threatened. And then there's the flight mode, which is really interesting. Instead of running away from a situation physically, we're avoiding things.
Yes.
So we're avoiding the conversations, we're avoiding people, we're avoiding tasks, we're avoiding going to work, we're avoiding social situations. So anything is going to make us feel threatened or unsafe or uncomfortable. We're
Yes.
like, yeah, no, I'm just not going to do that.
And do you
And so
think
when
it has a
facing,
impact on the way we release it? It won't release properly, right? If you keep avoiding.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to face our fear, which is the hard part, right? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love working with people on that to
Oh,
help them
that's
find
nice. I'm
the
glad. And
courage and
passion.
skills.
Yeah, yeah. What inspired you to integrate, the multiple modalities like your energetics, EMPR, and NLP? Is that from your own experience from having a stressful relationship or relationships previously, or?
Um, I just found like over my life, so from when I was diagnosed, I was studying I was studying traditional Chinese medicine and shiatsu at the
Fantastic.
time.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, okay, I can deal with this on my own. Like I don't need like drugs or antidepressants.
Yes.
I can go away and I can meditate and I can do the things, right?
Mm.
So I made the changes. Did the daily practice and the work and the yoga and the, healthy eating and
Mindfulness. Yeah, 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 yeah.
all the things. And that's always been what's helped me through, the
That's
meditation
nice.
is the number one tool.
Yeah, and then you just want to share it with everyone to help them, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I did not answer your question again.
No, it's all good. Keep going. Just let it flow,
Um,
sweet. It's all
so
good. Okay.
it's yeah, mixing the modalities. I just found
Yeah.
as I studied more, like I just became more curious and fascinated with how the mind and the body work together,
Yeah.
that mind body spirit connection. And so, I just kept experiencing new things and I was like, oh yeah, I can see how that will work and I can see how that
Yeah.
will help. And, if there was a client who, I was struggling with and I was like, it's real problem solving stuff, isn't it, that we do, as coaches. And so it's like,
Yes.
oh, that's not
Trial and
working.
error. It's trial and error. Yeah, yeah. And as
Yeah, it's
you
like,
might
what
not
can I
have,
do now?
yeah. And you might not have experienced a client, because you'd understand as a coach too, like you may not have experienced a client, for example, I have special needs clients too, and they're fabulous. They're so clever.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
because the neurological side is not, the normality is not there, you know, this frontal lobe is not always going to be the same, you know, and we're all different,
Yeah.
everyone. And when they
Yeah.
have special needs like autism and dyspraxia, you know, they think differently, but very clever, very clever. But they still want to make life health choices. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, and you tailor it to what they need, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
make it so simple, and it's beautiful. I just love speaking to them when they we do our catch up, you know, every couple of months. So, sweetie, we're going to dive into how chronic stress affects the digestion and gut lining. Um, have you studied, like, you would have studied like the brain and gut axis, yeah?
Not a lot, just from like personal experience
Yeah,
and like, just linking the two in my studies. But
yeah.
no, go
Has any
ahead.
clients experienced that, like any common symptoms or anything with their stress?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And I experienced that really badly. So one of my big symptoms when I had anxiety was nausea and gut pain, but the nausea was really full on. And I was just experiencing that every day, like all day.
Yeah.
And then extreme fatigue. And, I'd get home
You're
from
drained.
work and I would just go to sleep. My gut was just like anything I ate, I just felt sick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then the chest pain as well.
Do you think the emotional memory and childhood trauma plays a role in gut imbalances? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. No good. And do you have like some healing tools and tips for people on how to manage that? Like their
Yeah.
stress? Yeah. Over to you. Yeah.
So the number one tool that I offer people is to slow down their breathing. So I call it the emergency breath, like just taking 3 deep breaths. And so it's about bringing awareness to your body, and noticing those signs and symptoms that are showing up for you.
Yes.
And that's the real trick, is like noticing, oh, okay, I'm feeling a bit different right now. What's showing up for me?
Mm.
And then it's remembering, right? It's the trick is remembering to do the work. So in each moment, wherever you are breathing, you can do it anywhere at
Yeah.
any time,
Yeah.
right? To intentionally bring 3 slow, deep breaths, and it's just going to really take your nervous system down a notch,
Mm.
right? And that's like 30 seconds, and you notice straight away when
Yeah.
you intentionally take those slow, deep breaths that your energy comes down and
Yes.
settles.
Yes.
Um, and so what that's doing, like when we're working with that mind body connection, as you know, like we we're reminding our nervous system and we're telling our brain to tell our body just by breathing
Yeah.
that safe
Yes.
and that it's okay to breathe. We can sit here and just breathe slowly and deeply, and that means that we're safe.
Mhm.
And so your nervous system can calm down. Like there's no need to feel threatened. You're not in danger. There's no one coming at you.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Can we have a brief overview of, the modalities that you do, like the EMPR, the NLP, energetics, because you're like a jack of all trades, hun. Hypnotherapy, holistic coaching, and intuition. And do you also do a bit of your Eastern medicine with the people as well? Do you recommend herbs and things for them to use?
No, no, I would always recommend that they like go see a naturopath.
Yes. Yeah.
Or just check in with the food that they're eating and if they need any
Nutritional.
supplements.
Yeah.
Of course, with anxiety, like vitamin B is great.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So I'll just get you to do a quick overview, sweet, just of the modalities. That'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the most recent one I've done is the EMPR method, which is emotion memory pattern release method. And I know my teacher has, the 6 steps to trauma recovery after that name. So it's a trauma healing method. And it's a real blend of like somatic work, which is, releasing energy from the body, and the cognitive questioning and delving in deeper to what's really going on underneath. So, looking at those patterns that we've been playing out since childhood, so that have caused us to feel, think, or behave in a certain way, right? Or our body is showing signs and symptoms. What is that caused from? So we're diving deep into the root cause, and in EMPR, we're looking for the first memory. What's that very first memory, And so that's what we're going for.
Yes.
Then, like, working to resolve that problem with the client. So
Yeah.
there's a part of that that's intuitive work, but it's also linked to different, ways, dimensions of thought that we can get stuck um, in our mind. That these patterns and conditionings that we've been playing out since childhood,
Yeah.
we've created all of our beliefs and our thoughts as a child. So it's been our child mind and our child brain that has created the beliefs that we have about ourselves and about the world. And so we look at those and say, well, is that true today?
Yeah.
Can we work on shifting and changing that?
Yeah.
And that's, it's all like a really individual personal process,
Hmm.
because everyone has different experiences and
Yeah.
everyone has different thoughts.
Can you give me like
Um,
a real client example or a healing story that really stood out to you from just one of your clients?
yeah, sure. Um, so some childhood things that played out with this particular client were that, his dad was really angry, and so his parents used to argue a lot. And in that, there was just this feeling of, feeling unsafe in the household. And so there was a lot of people pleasing behavior that went on,
Mm.
and of course she wasn't like, sorry, he wasn't physically, abused or anything, but there was still this element of unsafe,
Yes.
of not
Yes.
being safe,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And
As
the
a
fear.
child, when there's people arguing, like, we don't feel safe. We're like, oh, what can happen? Like, I hope they're okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And just hearing that noise, and that tension. Um, so then there was always this energy that they held on to, that, oh, maybe the world isn't safe and we have to be careful. And, am I, and then we as children, we question our thoughts and our worthiness, and, is it me, that created
Yes.
that problem. Um, yeah, so working with that client to uncover like that root cause, and just, helping them to understand how that caused this level of, stress in their body where they felt unsafe. So there was so much people pleasing that happened
Mm.
and that played out. And, this is a very common story,
Poor
right?
person, but it's like, but it's we all react differently. Like if we're in a fear state constantly, it's walking on eggshells pretty much. So
Yeah,
you'll think nothing's going to happen. Oh, and then all of a sudden it just goes bang. And being in
yeah,
that adult, like the adult mind's completely different to being in a child's mind. And from you, I reckon that years and years of that, it will just wreak havoc on your body because it does start to physically manifest, you know.
that's right.
Have you seen that? Have you seen it physically manifest in this client or any other clients?
So it's always physically manifesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
in different
there's
parts of
always
the
something.
body. Yeah.
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 Yeah. There's always like inflammation. from stress
Yes. Yeah.
somewhere, you
Yeah.
know?
And just for the viewers, I just want to ask, like, what are the warning signs? Like, how do you recognize the stress if it's affecting not just your gut but your body?
Yeah, so everyone feels it differently. So I love taking people through this in our mostly in our first or our second session, we'll go through
Yeah.
like, okay, come back into the body and like just take your body back to like remembering something when you were scared or afraid and notice where you feel that in your body. And so it's just bringing that awareness to the body. And people they do this so easily, like you can shift energetic states so easily. So, it's like, okay, where do I feel it? And a lot of people feel fear as a heavy energy, or it might be fast, right? Because it's that adrenaline
Yes.
energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
see like dark like colors, if we're bringing our awareness to our senses in our body, it's like, where are you feeling that? So a lot of people feel it mainly in the gut or the chest or their head.
Okay. Okay. And you have any simple practices other than breath work, to calm the nervous system down that supports the whole body and including digestion?
Yeah, absolutely. So one that people with stress or anxiety really love is a progressive muscle relaxation.
Mm.
Um, you know, just bringing your awareness to each body part, tensing it, and then relaxing it. Yeah.
Oh,
That's really powerful. Just bringing yourself back into your body,
yes.
so that you feel safe,
Yes.
right? That's the beauty of the progressive muscle relaxation. So it's either like a meditation kind of thing that you do when you're laying
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Is that like a daily thing that they do all the time, or just when they're feeling some kind of like they know something's coming on?
If they're in that chronic state, it would be
Yeah.
daily. I
Right.
recommend the daily practice
Okay.
just to bring the nervous system back into balance. They
Oh,
need to do as many things as they need because their body always feels stressed,
yeah.
so they don't remember what it's like to feel relaxed. So
Yeah.
they need to remind their body,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is what it feels like to be relaxed. So when you're tensing the body and then relaxing, tensing and
Yeah.
relaxing, it's
And
like,
wouldn't it be
oh,
fabulous
this
if
is
we
what
were
it,
in like rest and digest all the time? We'd lose weight, we'd keep the weight off, and you'd be like, oh, okay, hi, always happy, and like, whatever's happening is happening, not worried every 5 minutes about time and but this is the Western world, Tony. That's why the way it is. You
yeah, it is so much pressure, isn't there?
Yes, it is. It is. But, we try and balance things, but we also have to take care of ourselves, because we're taking care of others. I've had lately just bouts of anxiety because I do like a 9 to 5 part-time as well. And this is my passion. And my body was tingly and it's no good. Plus, I've got hormonal things going on, but I won't go into that.
Yeah.
It's my body's like, I know my body's reacting differently to stress and I know something was off. So I did
Yeah,
something about it. So yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know. Do you encourage your clients also to do journaling and mindset shifts and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to go back to the other part. So
Sure, huh?
as well as the
Go for it. Go for it.
the movement, the progressive muscle relaxation, like
Yes.
movement is really important.
Um,
Um, so going for that daily walk or doing, dancing in the lounge room or,
I
a
did
lot
that.
of people, yeah, I love it. A lot of people exercise, which is great because what's happening when we move our body is we're releasing energy, right?
Yes.
So that charge of stress and adrenaline
Yeah.
that brings up, we're releasing it, and then we're
Yeah.
also like replenishing and recharging our body. So
Mm,
that's why movement is so important. Otherwise, we're just getting stuck.
yeah. Oh. So I just wanted to ask if you have any encouragement for people that's feeling stuck or overwhelmed. Any like last words or final thoughts before we wrap up?
So, talk like going back to the story of the people pleasing.
Yeah,
Um, it came down, and like you were just mentioning about, we don't take care of ourselves, or we don't find that time to take
yeah,
care of ourselves.
yeah,
Um, it's about prioritizing yourself, and looking after yourself as if you are your own child or your own best friend. It's like we need to do that for ourselves.
yeah,
Right. So I always say that as my wise words of encouragement is like, be your own best friend and look after yourself. What is it that you need in this moment, in each and every moment of each day? Self-care just isn't about that once a month massage or Reiki session, or hanging out with the girls and relaxing. Like, it's about every single day. What are you doing in each moment to make sure that your needs are being met and
mm,
feel safe, you
yeah,
feel fulfilled, you
yes,
feel nourished, like all those things in each moment.
yes,
Um, Otherwise, we just feel out of balance. So we just have to constantly be checking in with ourselves, like, are you okay?
yes. Well, as soon as I know something's up, I'm like, no, I'm not okay. Because you're not okay all the time. You need the balance. You need the balance. You want to feel balanced and clear and especially safe, hun. Sweetie, before we wrap up, I want to thank you for like joining me today on another episode of Shezzy's Digestive Harmony. It's been fabulous meeting you. I'll put your links in in the talk on Spotify and on my social media, and I'll invite you as well. Guys, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for listening and
Thanks,
thank you for
Sherry.
joining. And it's been really lovely. I appreciate you and your time and taking the time out. Um, you can find me on Spotify and you can find Toni on Instagram as well. I'll link her website and all the social media links as well. I hope you all had a wonderful time listening to this, and I had a wonderful time with you, sweet, and engaging with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time, sweet.